A betrayal unseen, a revenge unmatched. I was merely passing by when an impulse made me stop. Stepping inside, I hadn't expected much, just a fleeting visit. But what I overheard from my unfaithful wife, wrapped in nothing but a towel, left me utterly speechless. In that moment, I knew the revenge I was about to deliver would be swift, merciless, and beyond anything she could ever imagine. She had no idea what was coming. The day had started like any other. I left work earlier than usual, my mind preoccupied with the high-stakes merger I was handling. On my way to the gym, I drove past our townhouse, something instinctual urging me to stop. Maybe it was fate, or maybe it was the quiet whisper of intuition. Either way, I pulled over. Isabel's car was parked in the driveway. Odd. She had explicitly told me she'd be working late, and wouldn't be home until much later. A chill slithered down my spine, but I dismissed it. You're overthinking, Adrian. And yet, a nagging suspicion gnawed at me. Moving cautiously, I unlocked the front door as silently as possible. The house was eerily still, save for the faint trickle of water running upstairs. Then I heard it, a man's voice. That was amazing, he chuckled, his tone brimming with satisfaction. I can't believe you're actually going through with this. I froze. A second later, Isabel's breathy laughter followed. Oh, Adrian has no clue, she said smugly. He's so easy to fool. He actually thinks I'm still at work. We have all the time in the world. Silence. Then the unmistakable sound of a kiss. My fingers tightened around the staircase railing, knuckles whitening under the force of my grip. My entire body went numb, my thoughts racing at breakneck speed. She's betraying me. Right now. In our home. In our bed. I should have stormed upstairs. Should have kicked the door open, dragged the bastard out, and demanded answers. But I didn't. Instead, I inhaled deeply, slow and steady, and melted into the shadows. Because in that moment, I realized this wouldn't end in an explosive confrontation. It would end in revenge. And I would make sure it was precise, ruthless, and devastatingly thorough. Without a word, I turned on my heel, walked out, and slid into my car. But I wasn't consumed by rage or heartbreak. No, I was calculating. My marriage was over. That I accepted. But I refused to be the shattered, betrayed husband walking away in defeat. Isabel had made a grave mistake. She had underestimated me. And soon, she would understand just how fatal that miscalculation was. I pulled out my phone and dialed Luca, my best friend, a man with a unique expertise in digital security. He picked up after 2 rings. Adrian. His voice was cautious, sensing something was off. I need a favor, I said, my tone disturbingly calm. A pause. Then, what's going on? My wife is cheating on me, I stated bluntly. I need proof. Everything. Silence. Then finally, I'm on it. Within 48 hours, Luca had done what he did best. He retrieved every text, call log, and hotel reservation Isabel had made with her lover. But that wasn't all. He also hacked into our home security system and pulled surveillance footage of them together. Undeniable proof. That's when I set my plan into motion. A simple divorce? No, that would be far too easy. I wasn't just going to leave. I was going to make sure she lost everything. Her reputation, her sense of security, and, most importantly, her pride. Step 1 was psychological warfare. For the next few days, I acted as if nothing had changed. I played my role with perfection, kissing her forehead in the morning, casually asking about her day, bringing her coffee in bed. I was a devoted husband, the same man she thought she had fooled. She had no idea that every affectionate gesture, every smile, every whispered "I love you" was nothing more than a carefully orchestrated trap. The stage was set, and soon the real performance would begin, a perfectly orchestrated fall. I devised the ultimate deception, a lavish weekend retreat to an opulent villa just beyond the city limits. It was a place we had always dreamed of visiting, a getaway that had been on our list for years. Oh my God, Adrian. Isabel gasped, eyes gleaming with excitement as she slipped effortlessly into the role of the devoted wife. You're incredible. I smiled, warm and affectionate. Anything for you, my love. She had no idea that while she eagerly packed for our romantic escape, I was methodically sealing her fate. She couldn't possibly suspect that the next time she stepped into our home, it would no longer be hers. That within hours, she would be stripped of everything: her security, her reputation, her wealth. She was blissfully unaware that this was only the beginning. The real reckoning had yet to unfold. The morning of our so-called getaway, I told her I had some last-minute work matters to resolve and would meet her at the villa later. With a trusting smile, she left ahead of me, completely oblivious to the storm about to consume her life. The moment she was out of sight, I set my plan in motion. I called my lawyer and finalized the divorce papers. I froze every joint account, cutting off her access to a single cent. Then, with calculated precision, I sent every piece of incriminating evidence, her texts, her secret rendezvous, every damning detail of her affair, to her family, friends, and workplace. The flawless image she had spent years crafting crumbled in an instant, and yet the masterpiece of my revenge was still waiting for her. When Isabel arrived at the villa, she was greeted by an exquisitely set dining table, a chilled bottle of champagne, and a sleek leather folder placed elegantly at the center. Confused but intrigued, she opened it, expecting perhaps a love letter or meticulously planned itinerary for our romantic weekend. Instead, she found printouts, text messages between her and her lover, surveillance photos capturing their deceit, and at the very top, a copy of our divorce papers. Resting atop the folder was a handwritten note. I was just passing by and thought I'd drop in, but what I overheard changed everything. You never saw this coming. Consider this my parting gift. I wish I could have seen her face in that moment. The precise second her world collapsed, but I had no desire to witness her unravel. I never showed up at the villa. I never called. I simply turned off my phone, leaving her alone with the wreckage of her own making. There was no escape. The messages, the photos, the receipts, everything laid bare, like the autopsy of our marriage. And yet, she still had no idea just how deep the knife would cut. While she sat there, paralyzed in disbelief, frantically searching for a way to salvage the unsalvageable, I executed the final phase of my plan. I ensured that everyone who mattered knew the truth. I sent the evidence to her boss, a senior executive in the finance industry, ensuring that she wouldn't just lose a husband but possibly her career as well. I forwarded everything to her parents, the ones who had always believed their daughter was faultless. And then I made sure her closest friends saw the truth, the very same friends who used to tell me, "You're so lucky to have Isabel." Within hours, the phone calls began. I ignored every single one. Her world was in free fall, and I was just getting started. That evening, after hours of silence, I finally turned my phone back on. The first message, the first desperate attempt to reach me, the moment she lost everything. The first message was from Isabel. Finally, "Isabel, why is my mom calling me in tears? Adrian, what have you done?" I smirked as I typed my only response. "Me, you'll find out soon enough." Then, without hesitation, I blocked her. Hours later, Isabel finally pulled into the driveway, likely believing she could fix this with sweet words and empty apologies. What she found instead shattered whatever delusion she had left. Her suitcases sat neatly on the front lawn. Beside them, a moving truck idled, ready to take away what little remained of her old life. And standing in front of the house, their expressions etched with disappointment, were her parents. Panic flashed across her face as she rushed toward them. "What's going on?" she demanded. Her mother shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. "We saw everything, Isabel." Her father's jaw was tight, his voice dripping with disgust. "You're no daughter of mine," he spat. "You had a loyal husband, a beautiful home, a life most people would kill for, and you threw it all away. For what?" He gestured sharply. "For something so meaningless?" Tears streamed down her face. "Dad, please." But he silenced her with a glare. "Adrian showed us everything. Do you even understand the humiliation you brought on this family?" Her tear-filled eyes snapped to me, burning with fury. You did this." I leaned casually against my car, arms folded. "No, Isabel, you did this. I just made sure you face the consequences. She turned toward the house, desperation creeping into her voice. You can't kick me out. This is my home, too. I let out a slow, deliberate smirk. Not anymore. She blinked, confusion giving way to dread. What? I exhaled as if explaining something to a child. I had the house transfer into my name weeks ago. I said smoothly, You didn't notice, just like you didn't notice when I emptied our joint accounts. Her hands flew to her mouth, horror dawning on her face. You can't do this to me. I shrugged. Oh, but I already did. And that wasn't the end of it. Her job? Gone. Her boss didn't take kindly to an employee's personal life becoming a public scandal. High-level executives preferred to avoid drama. Her friends? They vanished. Turns out, they had never really been her friends. They had been mine all along. And the man she had thrown everything away for, the moment she lost her comfort, her security, her status, he disappeared. Ghosted her completely. 3 days later, one final text arrived. Isabel, I have nowhere to go. Please, Adrian. I made a mistake. I miss you. We can fix this. I never responded, because in that moment I knew. She finally understood. She had been so sure, so certain that no matter what, I would always be there, that I would forgive her, that I would take her back. But now she had nothing, and I was free. 2 weeks later, I settled into my new office. Promotion secured, a new city waiting to be explored, and a future untainted by betrayal. Isabel was nothing more than a lesson, a mistake I had erased. Then as I scrolled through social media, something caught my eye, a photo. Isabel, sitting alone in a dimly lit, run-down cafe. She looked exhausted, defeated, broken. The caption? Some mistakes can never be undone. Damn right. I leaned back in my chair, a satisfied smirk tugging at my lips. Revenge is best served cold. And Isabel, she was frozen solid. Because betrayal isn't just about breaking someone's heart. It's about destroying trust, dignity, the belief that someone will always stand by you. But when the person you betrayed turns around and walks away without looking back, that's when you realize you've lost everything.